Hi, I'm Faraz Khan from iTrack Recruitment, and welcome to the Low Code Podcast, where we're dedicated to increasing awareness and appreciation of the power of low code. In this podcast, we'll hear from developers about their career journeys and how low code has enabled them to achieve new levels of success and innovation. So let's go. Hi, Kasha, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to take part in the podcast.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. My first podcast. So
Amazing, amazing. I'm glad we spoke months ago, so we're finally here, which is great, and it's really good to have you on. And it'd be good to start with you telling everyone who you are, a bit about yourself.
yeah, sure. So my name is Kasja. I live in the Netherlands. I'm a Mendix developer and recent Mendix MVP.
Nice, cool.
I've counted them one of the four Mendix female MVPs worldwide. So quite proud, and
Yeah,
hopefully we'll get them more on board, the ladies in the Mendix world. So yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and also I've started in 2015 with Mendix. I was still studying, and a fellow study mate told me, yeah, I work at a company, and they do something with like dragging and dropping like little boxes. So maybe it's something for you if you look for a job in IT. And I was like, yeah, well, I just had my classes about business modeling processes. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out to be a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
It was quite challenging, but yeah, that's how it all started.
amazing. So when you first came across it in 2015, did you say you were studying? So you were
Yeah,
what, a university, is it?
yeah, University of
Okay,
Applied Science in the
okay,
Netherlands.
okay.
So it's 4 years with like 1 year off
Yeah,
in working at a company.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, I studied business, IT, and management.
Okay. So before Mendix was recommended to you, what kind of vision did you have for your career? If you had one at the time?
No clue, to
Oh,
be
really?
to be
Okay.
honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think even worse, I just decided on a bluish Monday to study business, IT, and management because
Okay.
I thought that's future proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my previous life, I
Yeah.
studied Dutch language, culture, and history
Okay.
at a university. And yeah, instead of my master's, I thought, yeah, it's where it's gonna get me.
Yeah.
I have to get a job that is secure for the future.
Mm,
So I
mm.
thought, let's do IT.
Let's do it. Nice, nice. And when you kind of discovered Mendix, what was your, obviously it was referred to you by someone else. So
Yeah.
what was your kind of process of looking into it yourself? What did you kind of do to make sure it's something you were interested in?
Well, back then there wasn't really like a lot of information online. So I just went to the job interview and they showed me the application
Yeah.
and gave me a book, what's now
Okay.
Mendix Academy.
Yeah.
It was back then in one book, study book. And yeah, I thought like it's if you follow the steps that they
Mm,
that are written in the book, it's quite easy.
yeah.
But if you have to build an app yourself without like someone telling you how
Yeah.
to do it, that's a whole different ballgame. So
Yeah. Yeah. So once you obviously I'm guessing you were successful and you started the job.
yeah.
Once you once you started the role and you're
Mhm.
kind of thrown into kind of developing with Mendix, was there any kind of challenges, or were you kind of like at first skeptical, or were you just like, oh yeah, this is great, I love it?
Well, for me, it was really cool to see how quickly I could make something out of nothing, and it was very visual, and it is a certain way of thinking, but still really on the business side. So if you combine that, like, okay, for my business, I need to get the tenders in, and I have to calculate something. You have to translate it to, okay, the system has to get them from the database and do the calculation. So it's a little switch, but it's really close to reality. So it's really easy to translate that. It's all about the translation from the business to IT.
Yeah. And when you decided to, obviously when you're working as a Mendix developer, I think being in obviously Netherlands helps because it's quite well known and big in Netherlands. But did you have other people kind of in your network, other than obviously the ones that referred it to you, like, oh, why are you working with low code and not going down the traditional path?
No, not really. Maybe it's a bubble, and I
Yeah,
started my career in low code, and it's been my world since then. And I tried different things. I tried cybersecurity. I tried IoT, but I came back after a while because I missed the making something.
yeah.
Being responsible for that
Yeah.
was really cool. Yeah.
And speaking about obviously, I can see you obviously moved on to other things. So you had a gap away. So what kind of made you, was that you kind of just intrigued to try them out, or was it just a great opportunity? What made you kind of move into those other, roles?
I think if you realize what you have once you lose it.
Yeah.
So because it was my only world, uh,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, IT is so big. There are so many things to do. And also my colleagues told me, like, you need to discover if this is really for you.
Yeah.
There are so many other things to do. So
Yeah.
I was inspired to look into cybersecurity, and I tried that, but it was constantly defending yourself and
Yeah.
looking out for danger. And
Yeah.
it gave me a really, like, an anxious,
Yeah.
negative
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be in front of the technology. So that's why when I went to a business event and they spoke about IoT and smart buildings, I think it was in 2018. So it was also quite new back then, and very exciting to see the building collecting data and making decisions based on data, and endless possibilities.
Yeah.
But it was all high code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was I tried that during my studies, but it was just
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah.
So I had to do business things, and
Yeah.
it was way too far from IT. So there was no connection there anymore with IT
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
That's why I realized low code. That's
Like
my
it's the way. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Please
So
take me back.
yeah, take you back. Yeah. So when you went back, did you kind of just feel like nothing, like you hit the ground running? There was no kind of, did you feel the gap when you tried to kind of, when you moved on and then came back? Did you feel there was certain things you needed to catch up on, or was it quite easy to
Yeah,
kind of just pick it back up?
well, eventually, while I was doing low Mendix,
Mm,
it was during my studies.
okay.
I studied full time, so I had only
Yeah.
2 days a week of
Yeah.
Mendix, and it was for a short period of time for one study year.
Mm,
So when I came back after 5 years, I had to start from scratch.
yeah.
Because I remembered, like, the basics, but it's still yeah,
Yeah,
I was still beginning, still a
yeah,
beginner. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's great. And then when you kind of you say you've used it kind of on and off, and then you've come back. What were some things that, as you kind of learn and developed with the platform, what were some of the features that really stood out to you that you thought, oh wow, this is definitely the right choice. I'm glad to be back, doing low code.
Um, yeah, it became more developer friendly, with list operations and all the tools for the developers. The widgets were far more evolved than 5 years back. So you could even make more stuff out of the box than
Mm,
5 years prior. So that
yeah,
was really cool to see. And also there was a whole Mendix Academy
yeah.
with learning paths. So yeah, you could just keep on learning and improving yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And in the kind of time you've now been working with it for a long time, and you're an MVP. What are some things that you think, that they've released in your time that you think have been really kind of major upgrades and really kind of, they're leading in a lot of categories, or what do you think's led to that?
I think the native part and the
Mm,
PWA. Although still a lot of businesses are using desktop applications,
mm,
we will eventually. It's already happening in some businesses, but uh, employees expect like more B2C application-ish, like apps. So I think we will go more into native and PWA. I even think more PWA.
mm.
And yeah, that was like a major release for me from Mendix, and that it keeps evolving and notifications, so you don't have to check things again. It comes to you. So yeah, I think that
Less work, less work.
less
Yeah,
work
yeah,
and more. Yeah, I don't know if notifications are good because
yeah,
it's distracting, but
yeah.
it gives you the possibility to focus on other things
Mm.
instead of waiting and
Yeah.
looking at your screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And is there anything that, hasn't been released yet that is in the pipeline that you're quite excited about, that you're allowed to talk about?
Yes, styling is I'm not a huge like hero in styling.
Okay.
um but I know that styling will also become more low code
Mm.
in Mendix. So I'm really excited about that because it will help me a lot to do it myself instead of relying on front enders.
Great. And is there anything, that isn't in the platform that you thought it'd be great if this was an option? Like, obviously there's a lot of things that can be in the pipeline, but is there anything that you thought, okay, this is not there yet, and it'd be great if this was available?
No, I don't think so. We are kept really good up to date, and I see the product managers of Mendix also joining Mendix meetups
Great.
to talk to their users and collect feedback. So if there's something that it's missing, they already know it, and maybe it will not appear right away, but they have it in the back of their minds.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. And is there one or two interesting projects you can talk about that you've been involved in?
Yeah, I for the past year I've been working on a project at the blood bank in the Netherlands. And it's really cool because it's actually there are two applications, one for the business and one for the end user. So it's really cool to see
Yeah.
how the feedback comes in from volunteers that donate blood,
Yeah.
how engaged they are with the blood bank, and the hardworking employees that want to streamline everything perfectly for them to make the donation possible. So it's really cool to see to work on a B2B and a B2C
Yeah.
application
Wow. Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And was that something that, were they when they kind of were using Mendix, were they kind of using a traditional platform beforehand?
Well, there is in the Netherlands, because everyone uses the agenda in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
want to meet up, you'll
yeah,
need a calendar.
yeah.
And there is a application for like you and me,
Mm,
or in group chats, like, well, let's meet up. Then
yeah.
Datumplikker, it's an application. It's an app to set up like dates which one you're available.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
it's just a business to consumer app, but it's
Mm.
also it's possible to use for B2B. And they used it to get the donations with the end users. They
Oh,
use
nice.
that app.
Yeah,
So from that, they went to a whole environment for the people who are donating blood to make their appointments, to see their blood results, a whole different, bigger environment for them instead of like
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So it's
really
really
interesting.
cool to see that how far they went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is really, really interesting. And they're a Dutch company. Have you worked on kind of any, because usually with Mendix, it's Netherlands is the place, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of customers there. Have you worked on any international projects with Mendix?
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And do you think, like the community, like I see obviously there's a lot of, this will probably tie into my next question. There's a big community in Netherlands, and there are pockets of other places starting to grow. Within Europe, what other kind of regions do you think is really growing? I know you're involved in some, and which ones do you think are really growing on the customer side, but also on a developer side?
Yeah, I've traveled to Poland in September to their second Mendix meetup. And I think there is a lot of potential there because
Yeah.
you see a lot of companies that they have their own departments there, huge logistic companies,
Mhm.
especially in the west of Poland. So not even Warsaw, but it's near the German border.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Mendix community there is growing, and the business has a lot of potential. And I think the second region will be Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that one, so it's good to know that. Spain.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. So
Yeah.
can you see quite a big developer community growing there?
I work at the Centro, and
Okay.
Centro also has in Centro Spain,
Okay.
and they do also Mendix.
Mm,
And they have huge ambitions to
nice.
also grow the community over there, to organize Mendix meetups. So I think if they start, or well, if they continue, because they already started, they
Yeah.
will make huge progress there.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And yeah, talking about obviously initiatives and things like that, you're involved in a few, so it'd be good to hear about them.
Yeah, well, next to my Mendix MVP, things that I do, I like to write content. I like to visit Mendix meetups.
I've seen on LinkedIn,
I've
you're a
discovered,
lot of them, aren't you?
yeah, I've discovered international meetups. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So I hope to do that next year too. And obviously, low-code ladies.
Yes.
It just started. We did a huge survey. We sent it out worldwide from Mendix to collect data from the
Mm.
female developers, what they think, what they need, what they want.
Mm.
And once we are done with that, we will start making plans for next year.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully, organize workshops, meetings, meetups for the female developers.
That's great. And you mentioned obviously, which I want to touch on is, you're now an MVP. I saw your video of you unboxing your
Yeah.
hoodie that you're wearing.
Yes. And
Oh, the mug as well. Yeah, perfect, perfect. So what led to that kind of, recognition for you?
yeah, I've always been a part of the community, and yeah, at Mendix meetups. I've worked at Mendix and also support, so and I know like a lot of
Yeah,
the old school MVPs that
yeah,
were submitting tickets. So yeah, but it's always been a male dominated industry, even
yeah.
low code. And one day I just started giving out like flowers on International Women's Day
Ah,
at
nice.
my company to celebrate women in IT. And I
Yeah,
thought, because everyone was like surprised, oh, is it today? And
yeah,
thank you. But I had like a lot of flowers and I gave only like a few of them away.
yeah.
And I thought, no, we have to
Mm,
change that.
yeah.
So yeah, I started to um, um, organize a female event at my company.
Mm.
I did a girls' day where all small girls all over the Netherlands could visit a technical company
Oh, nice.
to show them around and to inspire them. I hope I did, although
Yeah.
most of them wanted to become an actress. I
Okay.
hope one day they
Yeah,
will grow up and say like, well, back then I went to a
yeah,
company and I saw a lot of really cool Mendix developers. I want to become a Mendix developer as well, or anything else in IT. But
yeah.
yeah,
And
so
when you,
from
sorry,
that
go on.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And when you were, you mentioned you were gathering data for low code ladies, and when you kind of gathered the data about how many, was it only focused on Mendix developers
Yeah, women working in IT,
in IT?
but
Okay.
it's been sent to um, people, yeah, women with a Mendix account and
Yeah.
subscribe to the Mendix newsletter.
Mhm.
So and it's posted on LinkedIn. So maybe not I haven't seen the data because
Yeah.
that's at Mendix, but
Mm.
I think mostly women in IT.
Okay, fine. And this thing about, obviously, like you said, you're handing out the flowers and things like that, and this women in technology has been a kind of thing for a
Yeah,
long time now, right? Trying to grow. What do you think is the main kind of challenge? Because there's been initiatives going for quite a long time, and we're still trying to, maybe not even in IT, like even in the sector we're in, it's very male dominated.
yeah.
And what do you think is the reason for that?
Um, I went to an event for women in tech this summer, and I spoke to quite a few of them. Like, hey, what are you doing? And what I've noticed is that a lot of them are very humble, and
Mm,
even at to the point that it makes them insecure.
mm,
And I've spoken also to women who left IT because of that, because they started doubting themselves and they thought they are not good enough, and they didn't want to ask questions because they were afraid. So I think it's partly due to ourselves, but also how women are treated sometimes. That's the whole mansplaining. I've read an article about the payment gap. That women are judged on like reality, and the men are judged on their potential. So it's unfair, and the world is harder on women than on men, and the men are usually, and maybe that's I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychologist, but what I've noticed is that they are more outspoken, so they kind of stand out. So I don't know if that's the reason, but that's what I've noticed personally.
So I understand why it's probably quite a proud moment for you to be one of the 4 MVPs globally, and hopefully drive that. I think it's a great initiative what you're doing, and obviously low code is quite a niche skill set as it is. So if you can grow the women's side of it, then no, definitely great. So I look forward to seeing your plans for next year. Nice. That's good. That's good. And is it you on your own, or is it a few people doing it, or?
My plan for next year is to find women around me to help me, because we have to do it together. It's not a one woman's job.
Sure, exactly. Team effort. Great. And one thing I like to ask all our guests, and a good one for you actually, because obviously you started with low code, you left briefly, and you came back. And I don't know if you ever come across people who are not fans of low code, or just are not convinced by low code. Okay, good. Okay. First of all, it'd be good to hear that conversation, the story of that, around that. And 2, what would be your message to those kind of people?
Well, my message is to I hate to break it to you, but you will have to adapt. Just like people that had to get used to using the computer mouse instead of like command lines, paying by cards, using the mobile phone. There was in the Netherlands, when the mobile phone came out, there was an interview like, are you planning to use it? And everyone said like, no, I have a phone at home. Why should I? But the world is changing so quickly, and nowadays in today's economy, the business has to adapt with far less time and less resources of like software developers. So they need to change their business requirements really quickly. And that's the core value of Mendix, to be that flexible and quick to adjust and change with the business, with far less resources, people, time. High code languages, the traditional languages, will not cut it. So you have to get used to it. I'm sorry.
And you mentioned you've had conversations like that. Can you give me an example of a conversation you've had?
It's that because it's so standardized out of the box, that it has its limits, that it's not that flexible, and of course you can with high code you can tweak it the way you want, but it doesn't make it quicker, it doesn't make it flexible, it doesn't make it reusable, it doesn't make it scalable. So have fun building your own application that it's so custom that it will take forever to adjust and to update. I will do it my way, way more quicker and more scalable. So
Amazing. And it'd be good to, you've talked about obviously your plans and initiatives, is there any other things you're kind of looking forward to kind of implement, or is all your focus on low code ladies and just continuing to
Um,
in the Mendix world?
I think I'm not really making huge plans for in the future. I want to continue to just build, support my ladies,
Yeah,
and write content. Maybe travel for Mendix meetups.
nice.
But yeah, I'm figuring it out currently. So I'm taking it slowly to adjust to my new MVP role. And figuring it out, what the possibilities are. Yeah.
And a last question, obviously, you're an MVP, and for those who are not aware, obviously, the role of an MVP, what's the role of it? Is it to support the community, support other developers? What's the kind of role of wearing that? I was
Yeah.
going to say hat, but I'll say hoodie instead.
Yeah, it's to support and grow the communities, to spread the word of low code, just to be an ambassador, and show and tell the world what Mendix is about, and help others grow.
Okay, amazing. Well, I think you're definitely doing that. So, no,
Thank you.
congratulations. Well, thank you for taking the time. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you too. It was really great to do my first podcast.
Amazing, amazing. And I look forward to seeing, how you get on with low code ladies and the initiatives you do. And maybe we speak again in the future, find out how you've got on, and, get updated on if you have any other plans again at the time.
For sure. Just keep looking on my LinkedIn and your LinkedIn feed.
Amazing. I will do. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you.